Mark, first and foremost, you've obviously had a few days to look back on the Solihull game now. What mood change does a result like that and a performance like that do for the team coming back to Hewish?
Of course, yeah. When you win a game, it's fantastic, isn't it? It gives everybody a lift and puts everybody in good spirits. But we have another game tomorrow. You know, the conversation has been about you're only as good as your last game, and 5 o'clock tomorrow will only be as good as of what's gone on against Fylde. So yeah, we enjoyed that win. We played really well. Not sure many expected it, but the players were outstanding.
I'll say, for you, what were the key differences between that performance and some of the ones that had gone in the previous weeks?
We added quality and Otis. We had a really mobile front foot team that could go and get after Solihull.
And you mentioned the post-match before that you felt like the Yeovil fans who travelled all that distance, it was a long way to go, felt like they were behind the team throughout the entirety of it. Does that make a key difference? Is that something that you notice more away than you do at home?
For sure. I think, there's been lots of things said this week about comments that have been made, and just I think it's important that if you support your team, you support your team. And for me, that means if you're a supporter, you support your team through thick and thin. And so for the 90 minutes, whatever it is, you support your team. You get behind them, you cheer them, you're going to make mistakes. It's National League football. And I think the teams that have fan bases that consistently get behind their team in good and bad are the ones that invariably have more good results. And the easiest thing to do in the world is to berate your team when you're struggling and they're making mistakes. The hardest thing to do, for me, what a supporter does, is to get behind them and if you see people nailing players, I think you have a duty as a fan to say that's out of order. We need to back our team. At the end of the game, if the team's played rubbish, you've got every right to boo. But during the game, get behind the players. Surely that's what being a supporter of a team means to me. And like the away fans last week were fantastic. And at home, we have a majority of really good fans, but there seems to be a minority that are, whatever you do, or whether they're put up to it, I don't know, to be really negative. And that just doesn't help anybody.
On the pitch, you mentioned Otis Khan a moment ago. The last few days he spent with the club, how impressed have you been by his work rate, and what do you hope he'll bring to the club for the closing few games of the season?
Well, it's not a surprise. He's a good player. So Otis understands the game tactically. He understands what he needs to do and where he needs to be. And that comes with experience, years of experience. And sometimes with younger players, they just see the ball and they run, and they have different assets where Otis understands how to press, where to be when he hasn't got the ball, where to be when the ball's on the other side of the pitch, and he's got quality as well. And he's a good football player, and he understands. And the more of those you have in your team, the better. And like I spoke about before, for the money, we were really lucky to get Otis. And would we have liked to have signed more players like that? Of course we would, but again, availability is paramount.
And another new name going through the door, Harry Kite. Transfer obviously deadline came last night. Tell us a bit about him, and do you see him fitting into the hole left by Brett McGavin?
Well, going on from what I said about Otis, another player that understands his role. He's played 50 games in League One, I think. If Harry Kite if there was no circumstances around it with it being injured, Harry Kite coming to Yeovil would never be even in the mix, because he would be talking about League One, top end League One clubs. Now, he got really unlucky in the summer. He turned a deal down with Exeter to try and go pastures new and expand his football knowledge and his career, and he missed out on a deal. Then got injured, bad injury, hamstring. We had him down, came to watch one of our games with a view to sign him. then got injured, his calf. Now he's back fit, he's been training with us for 2 or 3 weeks, we've been able to assess him, and he's in a position now where he needs some minutes, and he's going to stay with us to the end of the season. I really hope that he shows what he showed at Exeter. He's tenacious, he can run, he understands the game, and if he shows what he showed at Exeter, then we have another terrific midfield player on our hands.
I was going to ask you, if he is able to regain that form and show fitness through, are you hopeful that that might be a deal that goes past this summer?
Of course, again, it's like, it's one of those, like, if he comes and does well for us, then I'm sure there's going to be bigger fish, but I'm sure that we've given him the chance and showed him a bit of loyalty to get him back going. That might weigh heavily in our favour, hopefully, but having watched him for 2 weeks, he just understands the game and is really mobile and aggressive, so it'll be a big plus for us.
If you and I were discussing Fylde a couple of weeks ago, it would have been a very probably different conversation to the one we're having today. Their result last weekend against Forest Green Rovers, how much of a surprise was that to you and to the squad?
No, because at this stage of the season you get so many strange results, don't you? York went to Braintree and lost. We could have easily beaten York the week before. So no, it's just about, we don't try and look too much at, we just try and head down, do what we've got to try and do, and it's a great result for Fylde. We've got another coach, and it was a good performance, but sometimes you catch these teams on the off day, like Forest Green and whatever, but they played really well. They were aggressive, pressed, got after Forest Green, looked really organised, but we're at home, and if we play anything like we did against Solihull, we have a big chance. If we run like we did against Solihull and get after the opposition, then we can get a result for sure.
You touched on it then, obviously changing coach since the last time you played at Kevin Phillips, now gone, and interim manager still, I think, until the end of the season as it is. When a side is battling relegation, how much more dangerous does it make them as an entity to coming here to Ewers Park?
Well, there's another argument that says if they come in here and they're safe, the shackles are off, there's no pressure, they can go and play their stuff. So there's different arguments, and I think, it's about fully respecting the opposition, their strengths. They've got some good players, but they're in the relegation zone. They have some issues, so we have to fully respect what the coach is doing and the way they played last week, really organised and front foot. But we have to look at how we can hurt them with our weapons, and I'm sure we'll give them some problems.
When it comes to the squad, are you expecting any changes, or any, other than obviously Harry Kite coming into the mix, any changes from the squad that was available for Solihull?
No.
Well, good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Give your friends and colleagues the VIP treatment at Ewers Park. Book your very own matchday private hospitality box for up to 10 guests. Visit ytfc.net for details.